Good afternoon. This is the Town of Hempstead Board of Appeals 2 p.m. meeting, May 6th. Mr. Chairman, do you have any opening remarks?
Is there anyone who is unfamiliar with the way we conduct our hearings? Anyone in the audience? Great. Now I can skip it. They all know how we conduct the hearings. So we're going to call for any request for adjournment first. We'll dispose of those cases, and then we will get into the remaining cases that are on the calendar. Patrick, are there any requests for adjournment?
Mr. Chairman, we do have one request for an adjournment, case 67824, Hewlett Rockaway Portfolio LLC, also known as 56 East Rockaway Road.
Good afternoon, Dominic Minerva D'Agostino. Requesting an adjournment. We now have the electric, the fire marshal, and the plumbing all signed off for this trailer. And we just have a few outstanding comments in response to the submission of the final survey. So I'm going to request an August date to play it safe, but I believe we're getting very close to the final certificate.
Okay. Patrick?
August 19th? 19th at 2 p.m.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Next, we have case 25126, Elmont Pepper Pot Restaurant and Bar LLC, special exception to use part of existing premises for place of public assembly and amusement, DJ booth, variance in off-street parking, also known as 760 Elmont Road. Please raise your right hand, sir. Raise your right hand. Swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Please take a seat and state your name and address for the record.
Good afternoon, Chairman, members of the board. My name is John Novello, 1253 Colonial Road, Hewlett, New York, 11557. I'm here on behalf of Pepper Pot Restaurant, and my client is sitting to my left.
Hello, how you doing? My name is Rashawn Balkaran. I'm the owner of Pepper Pot Restaurant. 760 Elmont Road, Elmont, New York, 11003.
Wait, actually, that's the address to the restaurant?
Yes.
Oh, I guess that's.
Yeah, multiple address also. Yeah.
Okay. Good afternoon, Chairman, members of the board. Again, my name is John Novello. I'm here on behalf of Pepper Pot Restaurant and Bar LLC. We are seeking two specific approvals this afternoon. The first one is a special exception to permit a portion of our existing premises for public assembly and amusement, specifically just to have a DJ booth that will just only provide ambient music. That's it, no dancing. And the second is a variance in off-street parking. While the numbers on paper might seem high, I will demonstrate this afternoon that our actual request is quite modest and that the available parking in the immediate vicinity far exceeds the demand of our operation. So first, to speak about the special exception, like I said, it's just a small area in the between the bar area and restaurant that would have just like a little area for a DJ booth. And again, it's only to provide ambient music. You know,
So no dancing.
no dancing. No, there's no room to dance. But yes,
Seems
okay.
odd to me, a DJ for ambient music, because they don't seem like if you have ambient music, DJs are talented, so.
Yeah. Well, and maybe Sean
All right.
could explain further, but it's a West Indian Caribbean restaurant, and instead of playing, let's say, Pandora or something, maybe the diners there might want to hear a specific song. So it's just nice to have, maybe to attract people. But again, it's not for dancing. It's not.
Jukeboxes are out these days.
Yeah, I guess. So that's again in the yeah. So that's that for that. The parking variance, I like to submit as an exhibit to the board members, just an aerial view, if I can.
Right ahead, we'll accept it in evidence. Do you know how that was taken? What is it, a drone? Google Earth?
It's from Google Earth. I guess I'll wait till everyone has one to.
Mr. Novello,
Yes.
the site plan says it required is 58.1 spaces. Is that just for Pepper Pot? Or is that the whole strip?
That is should be the whole strip.
Okay. What is,
Oh, no, sorry, no. 58, we're required 31 parking spaces, and the rest of the strip is 58, for a total of 90, I believe.
right. So your client's application is strictly for 31
Yes,
with a 93 occupant?
yes.
Thank you. How long was this establishment there?
It's been there for almost 4 years. They opened up in 2022.
Thank you.
So I guess okay.
Yeah, they don't count. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay,
They count.
so I don't know if you have the Google Earth presentation. In the center of the paper is the subject parcel. So Pepper Pot is in the middle of a little shopping strip on Elmont Road. To the left, there's an existing 17-car off-street parking lot that belongs to our shopping center. See to the left?
Yes.
Yep. And then on the easterly side of of Elmont Road where it's highlighted in red. That is, free on-street parking, and then on the easterly side. So there's approximately 24 spaces that, in front of our property, 12 on each side of the road that's, available for parking in addition to the 17-car parking lot. In addition, exactly in front of our property, maybe one or two stores over, is a bus stop. It's the N1 line. So the N1 bus line stops right in front of our property. So that being said, to the south of us in our shopping strip is, I believe, a pain management, a nail salon, a party planner, and a personal trainer. And to the north of us is a hair braiding, doctor's office, and furniture repair. So the good news is that during the peak hours of all the other tenants, they're open during the day, and we're going to be open as a restaurant only at night from 6 to 11. So there's really it works out. It's like staggered parking. Whoever, by the time the restaurant opens, all the other stores will be closed.
Mr. Novello,
Yes.
what's before us is the DJ booth.
That's and a parking variance.
Okay, how many spaces, if there were no DJ booth, would you require a parking variance?
Yes.
By how many cars?
It says 31.
Is your client there now legally?
Yes, right now, it's a takeout.
Takeout?
It's
no
a takeout
seats.
restaurant. So it's 12 seats or less. It's a takeout. It's, like I said, it's been in operation since 2022. So I don't know if you could, we submitted floor plans.
How many seats are going to be added?
So, a good question. Even though the parking calculations show that there's a potential of 88 patrons, if you look at our floor plan, the most we can possibly have is 60.
60.
So if we do the math and you use 60 divided by 3, that means it's really 20 spaces, not 31 spaces. So it's, in actuality,
Right.
we need less parking because we really don't have 88 seats. We're going to have 60 seats.
So would you limit your occupancy to
Yes.
60?
Yes, for sure.
Okay. And at 60, you would need, repeat that again?
60 divided by 3 would be 20 parking spaces as opposed to the 31.
Got it.
And again, at night, and then we have a 17-car parking lot that at night, none of the other tenants are open, so we have 17 cars available, plus all the parking that's, in front of us, which is about 24 spots that's shown on the Google Maps.
And there's a town of Hempstead, the town park,
Park across the street, yes.
that doesn't have, is that 24/7 and parking available on that?
I think they're open just during the day, and they have a very big parking lot.
But that doesn't help your client as far as using that parking lot because it's,
Yeah, but I don't think we would even need it. And plus, again, we have a bus stop, so some of the employees, some of the guests, and basically it's all the local community. So a lot of people just we're going to be walking to the restaurant from the area. So I think we have ample, we wouldn't even need, we have plenty of parking.
okay, thank you.
Yes. So, the other good thing is that, in the lease, they're the only, food establishment that's allowed in this shopping strip. So there can't be, the landlord can't rent to any other food establishment. So you wouldn't be seeing, a month from now, somebody trying to open up another restaurant because, it would be competing with them.
You wouldn't want to take a bet on that, would you?
What was that?
You wouldn't want to take a bet on that, would you?
We hope not, but it's in the lease.
Unless your client's kind of strong on the move.
Yeah. So I guess unless the board has questions in closing, Pepper Pot has been there for, for the last 4 years. We're not expanding the existing footprint. Basically, again, I don't know if you can see from there, uh, the kitchen's going to remain exactly the way it is. It's a very, very large kitchen area. This yellow area that's currently a big storage room, basically the only big change is the storage room is going to be converted into dining space. And there's little purple areas where we're adding the little DJ booth. So there's really not, it sounds like, oh, it's this big thing, but it's really just converting a storage room, have some additional seating. And, our client needs this because just having a takeout restaurant is not economically, feasible. So he needs to produce a little bit more income and be open at night and serve dinner. So that'll be, and it'll serve two purposes. It'll be beneficial to him that he can remain open and have business in town of Hempstead, and to better serve his constituents, his clientele.
Does he have hours of operation that you would offer as a limit
Yes.
or condition?
Yes. So right now they're open from 11 to 6 for lunch, and it's takeout, it's just takeout. They're going to remain takeout during the day, and then the restaurant would be from 6 to 10 on the weekdays and 6 to 11 on the weekends.
And it would close at 11 every
Yes,
night?
yes.
So the restaurant is going to be open, serving food until, until closing, is that what you're saying?
Kitchen stays open until what time?
10:30?
10:30, half an hour before closing.
We have 4 letters in opposition. You want to take a look at these and see if you'd like to respond?
At the very least, Becky says we should make them keep the exact same layout. And windows, we gotta be like Christina's getting the windows done. Did he go through the parking situation?
Well,
Yeah, actually, he says 60 is a max, they consent to that.
None of these are from you, about your place, right?
Uh-uh.
Yeah. Chairman, looking at some of the letters quickly, none of these letters are directly complaints about our current establishment. There's one making mention of some other establishment. I don't know, 75 moments. Is that even near you? Something that's not even near us. Maybe it's 2 blocks away. Another complaint had to do with a barber shop, like something about loud music. Again, we're just playing ambient, low music, so that doesn't really pertain to us. Another complaint here, about a car accident. I'm not sure if it's us. And something about noise. Again, we've been there. We're not a new tenant. We've been there for 4 years. If you check the town's, the zoning department, there's no violations.
That's before you had a DJ.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, again, it's just ambient music. This is not a nightclub. It closes at 11 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock during the week. And what day are you closed certain days?
We're gonna be closed from Monday to Wednesday, so it's not gonna be operational those days also.
Yeah, so
Can I,
Excuse me?
is that permanent? Would that be a condition that you're closed 3 days? Wait.
Based upon business, if we're required by our customers and clientele, like, hey, we enjoy your atmosphere.
May I ask you, when you say ambient, so I think of ambient as like little speakers up here, but oftentimes I see DJs, they have not that arrangement, but rather some speakers, they sit around the DJ booth. Which one is the design here, given that it's ambient?
No, there's not going to be like, it's going to be speakers within the room, not these big loud, they're not bringing special speakers. And it'll be the diners can hear themselves talk, that kind.
Okay, because
so-
yeah, if you don't have wired speakers around the room, they naturally have to pay it louder to get to the farthest
No,
spot.
it's going to be speakers that are in the ceilings, nothing, not big PA systems. And that could be a condition too, that it's just internal speakers.
Okay, and I was noticing the layout here, because you're right, and you said it yourself, that it looks easily convertible to a nightclub, which is not what you're going for here, and not what we're considering when we deliberate. And one of the potential solutions to at least a little bit, I don't think it's huge, but is to keep, you proposed a certain layout here with a lot of couches and, some tables. I actually,
Those are,
There's-
they're not, the booths.
They're like built-in
Oh, okay.
lounge, like seating that's built in against the wall, so you.
yeah, okay, booths.
Yeah.
A lot of big booths, and then they're just a table with a couple of chairs by it. There's two tables independently that do not go against the wall. I guess only two that I can see.
Those are the ones in the center?
Because it says lounge and, so the two in the center, keeping that layout exactly as it is, including those two, since there's no dancing. Because obviously, if those were gone, it looks more like a nightclub because there's a dance floor that's created by that or possibly. So a condition that we would probably require is that the layout stay the same. So I'd like to know, this is the layout as you intended. First of all, I guess, is this how it's laid out now?
No, well, now it's a takeout.
That was a takeout. It's
So-
only 12 seatings right now.
So where the proposed bar is that's where the counter is. That's where you can see the food and order. So,
Yeah, is that, wait, did you take over more space?
no, this is where the dining room is now. It's a storage room. So that's
Oh, so
basically,
you're converting storage space, and that's part of the calculation in
yes,
the,
yeah. But to answer your question, yes, this is the layout and we're going to stick to this layout.
all right, and the kitchen was always this large?
Yep,
Is the bar there now?
no.
Huh. Thank you. Hey, Christina. Is this a regularly applied condition? I mean, I haven't seen it that often, but windows for the restaurants. Becky mentioned it, and we've had it once or twice. John, could you turn it off? That's kind of, Mr. Novella,
Yes.
I know this, I'm guessing the storage, that dining room area that used to be storage, I assume that is a wall shared with the next tenant?
I guess, is that the hair braiding store?
The hair
Or is that
braiding.
the end?
No, there's a tenant on both sides. We're in the middle.
Okay, so obviously you don't have windows there.
Yeah.
How many windows do you have on the front and on the back, if you know?
There's no windows in the back.
There's no windows in the back. There's only emergency exits, and the front has a large window in the front.
Would that be above the lounge
Yeah,
or the so just the one window,
yeah.
Yes.
And the front door is a glass door.
which is, oh, and all the things like your trash on that, that's already in place from being.
Yes, yeah. It's in the back of the property.
Do I have a motion?
Move that the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Mr. Novello, you and your client and anyone else who signed in on the matter will receive a copy of the board's decision by mail once it's rendered.
Second?
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Have a good afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Next, we have case 25226, Uniondale, 70 Charles Lindbergh LLC, variance in off-street parking for existing office building, also known as 70 Charles Lindbergh Boulevard. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth? Sorry. Just raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Please take a seat and state your name and address for the record.
Greg Kalnitsky Legal, PLLC, 30 West Park Avenue, Suite 202, Long Beach, New York. Why don't you give your appearance?
Georgiosa, 34 Lark Avenue, Old Bethpage, New York.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. It's a pleasure to be here today. This is a straightforward, I think very simple application with a single issue, and it's just parking. So the property is about a little under 4.5 acres. It's located on Charles Lindbergh and adjacent to the Academy Charter School, the Nassau County Department of Health and Social Services, and very close to the town's educational zone, which has Nassau's Museum Row. So it's fair to say that the area is predominantly commercial, lots of office buildings, so on and so forth. The property itself is a fully occupied office building with 93,000 square feet of floor area, and it is a 2-story structure with a lower level. Property subject to a 99-year ground lease from the County of Nassau dated May 25, 1982 to Rex and Associates, and first received its approvals to develop on or about 1985. The approved plan in 1985 called for 2 floors of office space, and the lower level was to consist of warehouse use and other use. So obviously there's a difference in the parking calculations because of the uses denoted on the plans. The 1985 site plan showed 350 parking spaces on the site. The ground lease was assigned multiple times through the years. My client acquired the property in about 2016. Around the same time he acquired the property, they made an application to the Nassau County IDA for financial assistance, and I've had the opportunity to review the agreement. It only contemplates office space in that building. So what happened at this site was at some point between 1985 when it was built and 2016, the lower level was essentially built out for office space at the time that my client acquired it.
When you call lower level,
Yeah.
is it below grade?
Yes.
Is this a basement?
I guess, yeah, it's below grade. So
The whole thing?
yes. Anyhow, it was occupied. My client leased the space out. It came time to do a renovation, and the town correctly brought to my client's attention that the change in use would trigger a need for the parking variance. But as it stands now, this is basically a maintain application. Nothing will change should the board be inclined to grant this. So the required parking on site is 466 parking spaces. There are 364 currently on site. I know that I said 350 with the approved site plan, but just like the office space materialized in the basement, additional parking spaces also materialized through the years. The fact of the matter is there's a plethora of available parking on site. By a plethora, I mean at any given moment, it's easily over 100 available spaces. And if you think about it, if you own an office building and you have parking issues on your site, you'll cut off your nose to spite your face. You'll never get any tenants to rent from you. The lower level of the office building, I should note, in addition to office space, obviously, has amenity spaces that we do not think are going to attract anyone to the building. Things like a fitness center, a conference room, a cafe. These are all amenities that are intended for the tenants of the building and individuals who visit them. So to support our case, The applicant retained Level G Associates, which is Mr. Giosa to my right, and commissioned a parking study. And the parking study conclusively demonstrates, based on actual fully occupied conditions, as well as the ITE projected parking demand, that the building has more than sufficient parking. What I really thought was remarkable about the report is the 50 to 60 percentile of the ITE projected demand was almost exactly the peak demand on site that was observed by our parking consultant. So it was amazing to me because, the ITE is kind of something in an abstract, but we have the actual condition and it almost completely lines up. So I think it could be trusted if we swing the pendulum to the most extreme place. Let's say it's 85th percentile of the ITE parking demand, which was never observed on site. We're still going to have 100 available parking spaces. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Giosa to discuss the findings of his report, and I'll wrap it up.
Mr. Giosa, have you previously testified before this board as a parking
No, I
expert?
have not. This is my first appearance before the board.
Have you testified before other boards in that
Yes.
capacity?
Yes, I
Could you name a few of them?
Just recently, the Town of Islip Planning Board, also the Town of Morristown Planning Board. I am the parking consultant to the Montclair, New Jersey Planning Board, City of Englewood, New Jersey, Village of Lindenhurst.
So just a few questions. Just tell us in like 2 or 3 sentences, your education, your licensing, and the time you've practiced.
Okay, I have a bachelor's degree in economics, and I am the president of Level G Associates. We're a parking consulting firm. We've been in business over 25 years. We conduct strictly parking studies throughout the tri-state area, and we've been very active in the tri-state area, doing parking studies at hospitals, downtown.
Okay, 2 questions. Have you ever been denied authorization to testify before any sort of judicial or quasi-judicial body?
No, I haven't.
And what was the scope of your prior testimonies, or what is the scope of your expertise in a sentence or 2?
Parking demand, shared parking analysis.
Traffic?
Shared parking studies. No, I am not a traffic engineer.
Okay, great.
Strictly parking consulting.
Okay, so we'll qualify for you to testify as to parking in this instance.
Yep, correct.
Go ahead.
So today I am here to discuss our parking analysis of the 70 Charles Lindbergh office building in Uniondale. I'm going to give you a summary of the report that was previously submitted in our package. The 70 Charles Lindbergh office building is 93,177 square feet. At the time of our evaluation, it was 100% occupied. It has an on-site surface parking lot with 364 parking spaces. By code, the office building requires 466 parking spaces, based on 1 parking space for every 200 square feet of floor area. Before we commenced our studies, we spoke casually with the building's manager and several of the tenants, who all reported that even on the busiest days, there were always plenty of parking spots available in the 364 space parking lot. These reports have been cross-confirmed using very reliable methodologies that parking planners and engineers rely on. One is the Institute of Transportation Engineers Parking Generation Manual, and the other is actual field counts of actual conditions. So with respect to the Institute of Transportation Engineers Parking Generation Manual, 6th edition, it is probably the most reliable source of parking data available to parking planners today and is widely referenced. And parking count, and also we conducted parking accumulation counts. Level G Associates conducted parking accumulation counts between the hours of 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. First, with the ITE manual, again, the most widely referenced parking generation manual. Based on 77 past studies of similar office building, the ITE parking generation manual predicts that an office building of this size would generate a peak demand of 182 to 278 cars. As mentioned earlier, the lot capacity is 364, well above the predicted range. In terms of the actual counts, we conducted counts on an hour by hour basis between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. on a typical November Tuesday and a typical November Wednesday.
What were those dates?
Excuse me?
What day was the typical November Tuesday and the typical November Thursday?
It was Tuesday, November 19th, and Wednesday, November 20th, 2024.
Wednesday.
These days, on those days were not impacted by holiday schedules, school closings, or inclement weather. It was determined that the peak count on the Tuesday was 203 cars parked at 11 a.m. The peak count on Wednesday was 185 cars, also at 11 a.m. The overall peak count of 203 cars parked is squarely within the ITE forecasted range of 182 to 278. A full 161 cars less than the lot's capacity of 364. Stated another way, there are still 161 available parking spaces in the 70 Charles Lindbergh parking lot during peak conditions. We then conducted a stress test analysis. The 70 Charles Lindbergh office building contains amenity spaces that are for tenant use only, including a cafeteria, a fitness center, and a small conference center with a capacity for 30 people. Regarding the 30-person conference center, if we assume that one individual from the office building hosts a conference with 29 attendees, all of whom drive to the site, an additional 29 cars would need to be accommodated on the site. Given the fact that there are typically 161 vacant spaces during peak conditions, an additional 29 cars can be easily accommodated under this stressed condition. So in conclusion, it is our professional opinion that the current 364 space on-site parking supply is more than adequate to accommodate parking demand generated by the 70 Charles Lindbergh office building, summarized for the following reasons. With the office building fully occupied, parking counts conducted by Level G Associates indicated an abundance of vacant on-site parking spaces during peak periods and throughout the day. Published data from the Institute of Transportation Engineers based on 77 studies of similar office buildings found a predicted parking demand range of 182 to 278 cars. The actual measured peak of 203 is squarely within the ITE predicted range and results in 161 vacant spaces. Historical images surveyed on Google Earth dating back to 2020 never indicate more than 170 cars parked in the lot. Finally, a stress test analysis contemplating an on-site conference center to be filled with 29 guests driving single occupant vehicles to the site still results in a projected on-site parking surplus of 132 cars. And that concludes my summary of the previously submitted report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Giosa. I'm not going to belabor the point, but the board heard, in its existing state, There is never a parking issue, never a complaint, and we have triple digits available parking. I won't go through the legal criteria because I've appeared in front of this board many times and I know you're all familiar with it, but suffice it to say that if the board should deny it, now we got to move businesses out. It displaces businesses, it disrupts businesses, and there's really no reason to do it because it's not affecting anything at all. So unless the board has any questions, we will rest our case.
Any other questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
Move that the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. You will both receive a copy of the board's decision by mail once it's rendered.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Have a nice day.
Next, we have cases 25326 and 118026, Oceanside Merrick Terrace Associates. Use variance for proposed high-density multifamily with maximum population density variance. Construct proposed building for 12 apartments, totaling 64 apartments. Variance in off-street parking and parallel parking. Special exception to park in the front yards setback on Merrick Road and Westlake Court on a larger lot. Appeal the determination of the Commissioner of the Building Department in denying the application for a 12-unit multifamily building in CA zone as a use variance, case 25326, also known as 491 Merrick Road. Thank you. Gentlemen. Gordian. Everybody can just raise their right hand. Sir? Oh, raise your hand. Please raise your right hand.
Andrew, you coming up? Yeah, you're going to be speaking.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Yes. Please start with your name and address for the record.
Anthony Guardino, law firm of Farrell Fritz, for the applicants. Anybody else, you know? Yeah.
Gino Tedesco, R&M Engineering, 50 Elm Street, Huntington, New York.
Tom Stack, H2M Architects and Engineers, Melville, New York.
We are going to need the full addresses. I don't know if you want to just give them when you testify then.
Wayne Muller, R&M Engineering, offices at 50 Elm Street, Huntington, New York.
Thank you, Mr. Mueller.
Andrew Ratner, the Chief Operating Officer of the File Organization, 7 Penn Plaza.
And I don't think I gave the address. It's Farrell Fritz, 100 Motor Parkway, Suite 300, Hop Hog, New York. May I begin? Okay, great. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the Zoning Board. Again, Anthony Guardino. I represent Merrick Terrace Associates, which is an affiliate of the File Organization. File and its affiliates own both the Merrick Terrace apartment complex located at 491 Merrick Road in Oceanside, as well as the adjacent 7-Eleven site located to the west at 475 Merrick Road. To assist in the presentation this afternoon, I have Gino Tedesco, a professional civil engineer with R&M Engineering, Tom Stack, a registered architect with H2M Architects and Engineers, Wayne Muller, a professional traffic and parking engineer, also with R&M Engineering, and the File Organization is represented this afternoon by Andrew Ratner, who just introduced himself. He is the Chief Operating Officer, and he's going to address the board in a short period of time. And then also Jeffrey Mogno, who is File's in-house architect, is responsible for project development. So File and Merrick Terrace Associates are seeking variance relief and a special permit from this board to allow them to construct a new building with 12 residential units behind the existing apartment buildings at Merrick Terrace, and also to convert the existing 7-Eleven store to an accessory parking lot for the residents of Merrick Terrace.
Remain standing, or is it demoed?
It will be demolished. We already have a demo permit, so
The whole area will become a parking.
will become for 21 cars, yes.
Thank you.
So the parcels, there are two adjacent parcels, it sounds like you're familiar with, they're both located on the north side of Merrick Road. There's a map in your, and a location map and an aerial photo in your book at Exhibits 1 and 2. The tax map designations, Lot 56 and Lot 57. You'll see a tax map in your booklet. The Merrick Terrace is Lot 57, and the 7-Eleven is Lot 56. Yes.
It's to add a fourth structure.
Yeah.
That's behind, I guess I'll call it.
Exactly.
And identical, at least from the aerial view, of that shorter of the buildings.
Exactly. 2.5 stories, just like the other buildings.
Did you say 2.5?
2.5 stories.
Mr. Guardino.
Yes.
So your client be committed to build the additional 12 apartments. How many more parking spots would that requirement be?
It's actually going to add a total of 36 parking spaces, and 15 of the spaces will come from the reconfiguration of the site plan, and I'm going to leave that to the engineers to explain what they're doing, but that there's a net gain of 15 spaces, and then we're adding the 7-Eleven, which is 21 spaces. So they'll be adding 36 spaces.
And the addition of 12 units should trigger, what's the requirement for spaces, parking spaces for 12 additional units?
Well, I'm going to leave that to Wayne Muller if I could, if that's okay.
Yeah, because you said 36, that's confusing, but.
Well, 36 is additional from what's there today. Right now, there are 85 spaces for 52 units.
We'll wait for Mr. Muller.
Okay, great. I'll just get myself in trouble.
Right ahead.
Okay. Thank you. So Merrick Terrace is, like I said, 52 units. It's an aging complex, well-maintained, but it's still challenging for the file organization to compete in today's market because the units built in 1963, they lack the amenities of the newly approved apartments in today's market. Because they don't provide the modern amenities that people expect. The site is a little less than 3 acres in size. It is accessed by way of 2 curb cuts in a one-way direction. The curb cut on the west is an in only. The curb cut on the right is an out only. And then there's a loop around the entire complex. That provides access to all the parking spaces that are in the site. As I just mentioned, the 52 units provide 85 spaces, and right now that equals 1.63 spaces per unit. The parcel is zoned CA residence, which allows multifamily dwellings, subject, of course, to certain bulk and area requirements. The 7-Eleven is just about a quarter of an acre in size. It is also owned by a file affiliate. It has not always been the best neighbor because, it operates 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, and has been very active. It's been in business, but, it comes with some negative externalities that are associated with that. There are 3 curb cuts on the 7-Eleven site. As small as it is, there are 2 curb cuts on Merrick and 1 on Westlake, which is an adjacent residential street. The 7-Eleven site is zoned business, so it allows for 7-Eleven. It could allow for some other use, other commercial use, or it could be used as a parking lot like we're proposing here. And File recently terminated its lease with 7-Eleven in anticipation of using that land to add the additional parking for the residents of Merrick Terrace. In the area, I think you're familiar with the area, but it's a mix of residential, commercial, and hospitality uses. There are several commercial uses on the south, across Merrick Road, and there's a tool rental place there. There's an auto repair, several retail and food establishments. And then to the other side, on the north side, you have the Ramada Hotel, which actually fronts on Sunrise Highway. So it's the rear of the Ramada. That hotel has 3 buildings on it, including one that runs parallel to the proposed building here that will help screen the new building from view from the hotel parcel, and also screen the new building, people who live in the new building from looking at the hotel. That buffer is pretty significant. It's about 90 feet deep. It's made up of deciduous and evergreens. It's been there for a long, long time. And it looks like it provides a very effective buffer, or will provide an effective buffer. Then you have the houses on the east and west.
I'm sorry, what did you say is that I can see in your photographs, I see that large, I guess, buffer
Yes,
What is that parking lot on the other side of it? The photos.
Ramada.
This parking.
That's the Ramada.
Oh,
That's the hotel. And then to the east and west, you have, I think it's a Charing Cross Road to the east, and then Westlake Court to the west. The backyards of those homes are coterminous with the Merritt Terrace parcel. As of now, I mean, they seem to peacefully coexist with the apartments that are there. And that's not likely to change by the addition of this one building. And if anything, I would say that there would be actually some benefit from reducing the vehicular activity that will be associated with the 7-Eleven site, because now people can park closer to Merrick Road and maybe not have to circle around and necessarily park in the back behind their homes. I mean, there still will be parking there and there will be people parking, but some people can park in this new lot. So by way of, I think we just talked about, there's a new building being proposed in the back. 7-Eleven will become the 21 spaces. As I mentioned, the reconfigured parking lot's going to add 15 spaces. The 21 spaces on 7-Eleven there will now be a total of 121 stalls. That is going to increase the space per unit to almost 1.9 from 1.63. So that's the per unit. So it goes up, it gets better.
129 is what you're going to have, or what you're?
It's actually 1.89. 1.89 spaces per unit is what we're going to end up with. And today it's at 1.63. So
What was the total number of spots? I thought you said.
121.
121.
121. 100 on the Merrick Terrace piece, 21 on 7-Eleven. As the traffic study prepared for this project indicates, and as Wayne Muller is going to testify, the 121 spaces is more than sufficient for the development with the 64 total units. I do want to point out that the new parking lot will not be accessible from Merrick Road or from Westlake. It's only internal to the development. So you'd have to come into the Merrick Terrace parcel, make a left, go into that lot. So now you won't have cars coming in and out onto Merrick Road from the parking lot, nor will you have any cars going out that could go up Westlake Court. So I think that's a positive. The building has been designed to complement architecturally and with respect to materials, the existing buildings. I'm going to leave Tom Stack to talk about that. And the units will just be all small units, 1 bedroom each.
All of them. All of them will be
all 12. The 12 that are proposed will be between 666 square feet and 673 square feet. There'll basically be 6 units on the first floor, 6 units on the second floor. At this point, I'd like to introduce Gino Tedesco to maybe go through the site plan for the board's benefit, and then we'll eventually get to Wayne, who can address the parking. So.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairperson, members of the board. I'd just like to point your direction to this site plan over here. We'll probably just go over that, be a little bit easier. Oh, sorry. All right, as Mr. Guardino said, we are planning on maintaining the 2 existing curb cuts on Merrick Avenue. With the demolition of the 7-Eleven building, we will be closing the 3 curb cuts, 2 on Merrick Avenue, 1 on Westlake. We are maintaining the existing circulation around the site. It's a one-way circulation as it is now. We do not intend to change the buffers. We're going to change them slightly, but our intent is maintaining the existing curb lines. There is existing parallel parking along the outside of the parking now. There's to the north, there is angled parking. A lot of this parking is substandard. It's been striped over the years and it's a little bit smaller. So we've reconfigured the parking to make them compliant with code. Parallel stalls being 9 by 22 interior, 9 by 24 on the end caps. So there's plenty of maneuverability to get into those spaces. The angled parking is reconfigured to be a full 45-degree angle and to meet town of Hempstead regulations for the 45-degree parking. And then along the rear of the property, buffering the Ramada Hotel and between the new building, we're kind of maintaining the same perpendicular kind of 90-degree stall with a large drive aisle for backing out, and that has been reconfigured so the building, we placed the building so that we have enough buffer between the existing building on the lot, and that gives us the, that's why we have the two parallel stalls kind of towards the end because of the angle of the property line.
But all the stalls meet the stall size requirement.
That is correct.
Meet the 24 backup.
Correct. They've all been realigned so that they meet the code.
But your site plan, right?
Yes, site plan.
Question real quick. On Merrick Road by the new, where you're gonna keep your Merrick Road curb cuts, right? There's a notation here about 4 that's on along Merritt Road, it appears to be, right about where the 7-Eleven site meets the subject property. And it says 4-foot chain link fence and concrete pad to remain. Is there a?
Correct. That's the existing location where the dumpsters and the garbage refuse is contained. So that's actually existing, and we're going to just maintain that in that same location. It's fenced off and it's screened with, I believe it's a vinyl slats in the fence, so you can't really see into it.
But it's right up to the property line, though. All right, I guess it's not going to block. You only pull in on that site? That's only in, not out.
That's only in, correct. To continue, so as Mr. Guarduna mentioned, we have gained with the realignment, we have added additional parallel stalls to maintain the parallel stall configuration on the interior curb lines around the existing buildings. So those take away approximately 9 feet from the existing curb line. We're proposing new sidewalks along that whole side so people can transverse from the stalls to the walk to their apartment buildings, their units. Those new stalls, again, with the realignment of the existing, we gained about 15 stalls from that reconfiguration. With the addition of the 7-Eleven lot, we're getting another 21 stalls. So as Mr. Guarduna mentioned earlier, the existing parking unit ratio for the 85 stalls to the 52 units is 1.63 stalls per unit. And with the proposed addition of the 21 spaces and the parking reconfiguration for the addition of the 12 units, we have about 1.89 for the unit, parking per units. To conclude, our applicant is planning on obviously updating the landscaping around the entire site. There's not a lot of change on the existing Merrick Avenue site, but they will supplement it with new landscaping. There'll be new streetscape along the 7-Eleven site on both sides, on Westlake and on the front. And some new landscaping to clean up the front on Merrick Avenue. If there's any more questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Otherwise,
either one, are you going to supply a landscape plan with lighting, dimmed, low, and?
Yes, when we get to the point of the review, we'll prepare a landscape plan, we'll prepare a photometric plan with new lighting and updates.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gino. Tom, you want to maybe just address the architecture briefly?
Guardino, real quick, that enclosure for the garbage, I'm just curious, because usually they have to be 4 feet is as of right, but usually they're taller than that, and I just want to make sure, and it might already have relief because it exists, I just want to make sure if there's anything you have to, is it 4 feet only, and is that, well, I've never seen a garbage dumpster that is hidden by 4 foot high. That's what I was trying to.
I agree. I don't know. Gino, are you familiar? I mean, I'm not that familiar with the. Just there. I really haven't paid much attention.
I just don't want to not do anything about it, and you need something.
It needs to be.
Yeah, I don't remember. I think the 4-foot chain link is only on this side. I believe there's a higher fence around, against the 7-Eleven site and along Merrick Road. I believe it's like 6 foot. It may just be that's the 4-foot gate.
But if it's 6 feet on some section, it probably has prior relief or something? I don't know.
I would assume so. I don't know the answer to that.
All right, it just said if it needed relief, we should deal with it.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Okay, go ahead.
If you look at tab 5 with the photos of the subject property and go to the second page, you can kind of see the fence there with the slats in it in between. So the second photo, it's on the far left here.
And by the way, this garbage enclosure, I was kind of assuming it was the 7-Elevens, but it's yours already.
Yes.
So we already know that it's I see it. So it's already adequate even with the new 12 units, I guess. Okay, if it doesn't require our attention, I'm fine with that.
Thank you.
Tom Stack, H2M Architects, Engineers, 538 Broad Hollow Road, Melville, New York, 11747.
Can you speak up a little?
Yeah, thank you very much for letting us present today. I'm going to recap a little bit with what Gino said here. This is sort of a colored diagram. You can kind of see where the new building sits in orange here. We were pretty restricted into what we could do as far as footprint, but it actually worked out very nicely with Gino's parking and the way that we want to align the buildings to match this existing footprints, and I'll get into that in a little bit. There's a photograph here of the existing 7-Eleven, so you can kind of see what we're trying to change and improve with the site so that the client can actually improve his larger site. In their packet there is a rendering of an aerial rendering of the building, the new building. So what we're really attempting to do here is match in kind with the brick, match in kind with the roof lines, the roof heights, and also the fenestration with the windows and the shutters. So essentially matching what's existing. The footprint itself, as Anthony mentioned before, they're all 1-bedroom units going across the page. They all have a separate entrance, so they don't have to go into someone else's vestibule to get into the space. So they're all separate. There's sort of we calling a master bedroom, living and kitchen in the front, and then a bathroom and a closet and area towards the rear. So it kind of privatizes some of the space there. And then there's also in your packet a drawn elevation of the building that you can review. But again, we're matching the height, we're matching the sight lines, we're matching the window lines, and we're also matching the roof lines. If you have any questions, just let me know. I'm here for you.
Thanks, Tom. I'd like to call Wayne Muller, professional traffic and parking engineer with R&M Engineering.
Mr. Muller, on numerous occasions, you've been qualified to testify as a parking and traffic expert before this board. Since the last time you appeared before this board, have any of your qualifications changed?
No, they have not.
So we will once again allow you to testify as to parking and traffic issues. And by the way, on behalf of the board, I'd like to extend our sincere condolences for your loss.
Thank you. Again, for the record, Wayne Muller, R&M Engineering, offices at 50 Elm Street, Huntington, New York. As Mr. Guardino indicated, we prepared a very detailed traffic and parking study for the project, and that document is dated March 2026 and is appended as tab number 9 of Mr. Guardino's very detailed book that he submitted as part of the application. But just to briefly summarize, from a traffic perspective, this project is net positive, meaning that based on our analysis, we observed the activity that was at the former 7-Eleven site, and what we found was that the existing 7-Eleven, during the times that we studied, generated a maximum of 107 vehicle trips during the morning peak hour. In comparison, the proposed 12 dwelling units that the applicant is seeking the relief for would generate 6 vehicle trips during the same time frame. So from a traffic generation perspective, during all peak hours associated with the project and the adjacent roadway, by eliminating the 7-Eleven use, there'll be a reduction in traffic within the area as compared to the residential units that are being proposed before the board this afternoon. In addition, the chairman asked a question as to how many parking spaces do the 12 units require based on the requirements of the building zone ordinance. As indicated on the site plan, the 12 apartments require 16 stalls plus 1 stall per every unit for visitors for a total of 28 spaces.
And you are providing, the new configuration will provide how many additional spaces along with the property currently occupied by?
That'll be 36.
So you're actually plus on the parking side?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah. And as indicated in our study, the existing number of spaces that's provided on the property is more than sufficient to accommodate the activity generated by the existing number of apartments. And as indicated by Mr. Guardino and by Mr. Tedesco, from an overall perspective, we're improving the ratio of parking spaces provided to the number of units. So from a parking perspective, this project is, again, net positive. So therefore, based on all the analyses that we've prepared, it is my professional opinion that by granting the relief required, there'll be no significant impacts to traffic conditions. In fact, there would be a reduction in traffic, and that the parking spaces provided on the property would be more than sufficient to accommodate the activity.
I think it's a great design. I can only speak for myself. I love the idea that the parking lot is not accessible on its own, you know, from the other streets, like that you go onto the premises. I think that's a great idea. It just seems really perfect.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Wayne. I don't know why you're such a book hater.
Kill a lot of trees with them.
Half of it's your.
Oh, that's true.
So now I just want to get into kind of the legal part of this, because this application is unique it's unique in a lot of ways. It has unique facts. You have 2 parcels, different zoning, et cetera. But the way this application was denied, I just want to kind of address some of the legal issues there. And that was really the reason for this case number 1180, which is challenging the determination that a use variance is required. So I just, if the board could be patient, I just want to kind of go through this. We have a denial letter or a violation report that was issued, and it flagged 5 things. Section 98, which is permitted uses in the CA zone. Then there's section 106, which is the population density that's in the CA zone. Parking in the front yard setback, as you know, is the special permit required. And then under 319, both sections A and D, you have the variance needed for accessory parking because we don't have enough as per code. But we also are creating parallel parking spaces where the code requires perpendicular parking spaces. So that's the 5th variance. So we then appealed, right? The applicants appealed the determination. So with respect to case number 1180, we're appealing that determination because I don't believe that the 12-unit multifamily building violates section 98 of the code. Of the building zone ordinance, and that it therefore would require a use variance. I don't believe that to be the case. The rest of section, case number 253, we would also then, I guess, be seeking a use variance if the board doesn't agree with my first argument, and then variance relief, of course, from off-street parking, the parallel parking, and then the special exception that we would have to demonstrate. So with respect to the use variance, again, and why I don't think that it triggers the need for a use variance here, obviously, this board can grant use variances when there's a use that's not permitted by the code. And section 98 of the building zone ordinance entitled permitted uses, a pretty simple section. I think if you look at tab 13, the code section is there, the relevant section of it. And so that section says under permitted uses, A building may be erected, altered, used, or a lot or premises may be used for the following purposes and for no other. Then you get to A, and then the first thing it says is multifamily dwellings. And then it gets into some other language about you can have multifamily dwellings with home occupations. That has no relevance to this. We are proposing, my clients are proposing a 12-unit addition to a multifamily development. The building itself is multifamily within the existing development. So, and I don't see how it's not a permitted use. This is a multifamily use in a multifamily zone.
What was the reason given to you?
Well, the reason given was that we were exceeding the maximum density of 20 units per acre.
How much are you providing?
We're 1.9 units over. So we are just slightly over the 20. We're at 21.9 units per acre, where the code allows 20. And I think the thought was that, from the building department, was that this doesn't make it the multifamily dwelling that the code provided. But I disagree with that because Section 106 limits bulk. It limits the density in a totally different section, which I'm asking for a variance from. I know I need a variance from that, but that is, in my mind, an area variance, no different than if we were proposing a multifamily dwelling that's 3 stories tall, right? It's taller than the code allows, or it's too close to it's in the setbacks, or it doesn't provide enough parking, or exceeds the FAR. All of those are bulk and dimensional requirements that are varied through the area variance process, not through the use variance. Because again, when you read Section 98, you only have to get to the word multifamily, period. And that's what we're proposing.
Well, but,
Yeah.
you know, the flip side of it, I think, is that this one that allows multifamily dwellings, and I understand your bulk argument, envisions that provided it meets all the other requirements. And I get you make the bulk argument, but fine, you're arguing in the alternative.
That's it. And I will argue and that's exactly what I'm going to do. I mean, I hope the board will agree with me on the first one, but if it doesn't, I'm going to get into the use variance criteria, which of course, though, is much more difficult to prove. And that's why I was so concerned. That's why I don't think we need it, because once I go there, what's that?
That argument of the alternative argument concludes we're barely over in density, and if we weren't just.
Exactly. And that's where I'm going. That's exactly where I'm going. So, all right. So if a use variance is required, we believe that the relief is justified by what I think are very unique facts of this case. So, of course, Town Law 267B2A grants the board the power to grant these use variances, as I mentioned, but we have to demonstrate 4 factors. One is that the applicant can't realize a reasonable rate of return on the investment or the asset, that the alleged hardship is unique and does not apply to a substantial portion of the district or neighborhood, and that the requested use variance, if granted, will not alter the character of the neighborhood, and then finally that the alleged hardship has not been self-created. So with respect to the first one, I think what makes this unusual, as I mentioned, was it involves 2 different properties, one that's residential, one that's commercial. The residential parcel is a very important asset to the file organization in its portfolio, and one that file wants to enhance and renovate, subject to the modest relief that we need to ask for in order to do so. The 7-Eleven parcel, of course, is, while it's still valuable, right, and it is an income producing asset, it has been the subject of complaints in the community over the years due to its age, its appearance, and its 24-hour operation. And the 7-Eleven and the store that's on it have significant value because they are located at it's a corner on Merrick with a light. It's very valuable for another commercial use. But the file organization decided it didn't want to go that way. It wanted to enhance its residential asset that's next door. So what I would like to do, if I could, is just bring Andrew Ratner up, and I just wanted to explain to the board what the rationale was for him basically throwing the 7-Eleven into the pot to help enhance the asset at Merrick Terrace.
Good afternoon. My name is Andrew Ratner. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of the File Organization. We are a privately owned real estate company with assets throughout the county. And it's been our practice throughout, whenever we have an asset, if there's an opportunity for us to enhance its value, create stability, and do that in a way that benefits the community. At the same time, we look to do that. This asset was purchased, File Organization was founded over 70 years ago, and this was purchased and built by Louis File approximately 63 years ago. And along those lines, at this time, during the transition of the 7-Eleven, the way the Merrick asset functions, it's always rented. We thought this was an opportunity for us to create and enhance its stability, do a benefit to the community, and also clean up an eyesore all at the same time. And that was our goal, and that's our consistent goal throughout our portfolio on the island. Really straightforward story for us, and the same thing occurs whether it's a residential, commercial, retail, or assisted living senior housing.
Thank you, Andrew. The next factor is whether the hardship is unique. I looked at the zoning map, I drove the area, I looked at aerial photographs. I don't see any other CA zoning in the neighborhood here. I do see, I don't want to say CA, I see multifamily further to the west, but that's in Rockville Center. So those units are not subject to town zoning. So I think this is not something that can be is easily replicated in this neighborhood. So I don't see. I think this is kind of like a one-off. And again, as Mr. D'Amato said, it's a modest density variance, 1.9 units per acre. It does not apply to a substantial portion of the district, and it is in fact unique because I don't think anybody else will suffer the same hardship because they don't, quite frankly, don't have CA zoning in this area. So that's the second factor. The third is whether it's going to alter the essential character of the neighborhood if the relief is granted. This building is in the back. It's not going to be visible to anyone from Merrick Road because it's about set back about 500 feet from the roadway. It is screened to the north by this 90-foot buffer to the hotel, so the hotel can't see it, and vice versa. It will be visible. The sides will be visible to the backyards that are on Charing Cross Road and Westlake Court. But again, I think those homes are already used to having a multifamily development in their rear yard or in their backyards or on the other side of the fence in the backyards. I think another point is that when you're talking 1.9 units per acre, like no one's going to know that, right? You can't tell. I mean, the building's the building. I don't think anybody's going to be able to perceive this as, I think you're a little over that 20 units per acre. Yeah, they're not going to care. They're not going to be able to see it. And then if anything, I think the character of the neighborhood gets enhanced, as I mentioned, by the 7-Eleven parking, because that's going to be demolished. They add the parking, they get rid of the noise, they get rid of the traffic, which of course was happening at all hours of the night. So I think this is in fact this is a very unique circumstance and it will not have a negative impact on the character. And then the last factor for the use variance is whether the hardship is self-created. But I think the hardship here is kind of a little bit of an unusual argument, but it's kind of tied to the 7-Eleven because the general sentiment in the community is the 7-Eleven is not the best neighbor. So File Organization had this creative approach to try to take the value out of the 7-Eleven and transfer it over into the Merrick Terrace asset, which is far more valuable and important to the File Organization, and I think it's a more important asset to the community. But of course, File couldn't just terminate its relationship with 7-Eleven, give up the value of the land, give up the rent stream without getting something in return. And the way they thought this, they thought it was a reasonable trade-off is to just add a few units and create that parking in the front and get some use and some value, I should say. This is not the situation where they just tried to add 12 units for the sake of adding 12 units. Then I don't think I could stand before you and say that that is not a self-created hardship, because in fact it is. But this is not the case because we're trying to take the value out of the 7-Eleven. And at the end of the day, you remove this eyesore in the community and a use that has all these negative externalities that are not that desirable in the community. So that's the end of my use variance argument. I hope that's sufficient. if need be. And then I just want to get into the regular area variances, and I'll be quick there. So we do need relief from the bulk, the area, and the parking requirements, which again are all subject, in my opinion, to area variances. That if the 21.9 units per acre over the 20 is in fact an area variance, it is modest relief. It's only 9.5% increase or deviation from what the code allows. The parking, where we have 121 spaces where 150 are required, that's only a 19.3% variance. And then, of course, we need the parallel parking where the 90-degree angle parking is required. I think on balance, the benefit to the applicant far outweighs any detriment to the community, because I quite frankly don't think there is any detriment, and I think it's actually a benefit to the community. So if I go through those 5 factors very quickly, there will not be an undesirable change in the character of the community if they grant the relief, because again, I mentioned not visible, the improvements are not visible, far away from the roadway, located directly behind other buildings, not visible from the hotel. The additional units not perceptible. They will be screened by this 90-foot buffer. And again, I think it creates a desirable change in the character of the neighborhood, a benefit to the properties because we get rid of the 7-Eleven and then integrate it into the development. They will be landscaped, and that's another benefit. The second benefit cannot be achieved by some other feasible method. There's really no other way to do this without variances. So the applicant will need the variances and this modest variance relief in order to proceed. It originally proposed 16 units and reduced them to 12, which it thought was the least amount of variance that would justify its investment after talking to town officials. So they asked for a little bit more, already cut it back a little bit. Without the variance, you can only add 6 units. The building doesn't get built. It's just not going to do it. And you don't get rid of the 7-Eleven, by the way, because it doesn't make any financial sense. Is the variance relief substantial? No, 9.5%, even 19.3%. Generally boards, and this board as well, like 20% is when you start looking at it very closely. So I don't think there's a quantitative, it's not quantitatively substantial, and of course not qualitatively substantial if you can't perceive it. Will not have an adverse impact on the community, on the physical and environmental conditions, both sites fully developed. There's no wetlands on the property. There's no significant environmental resources. They're both there's a vacant spot on the Meriteric piece, and of course the 7-Eleven is already paved over. So there's not going to be any impact to the environmental or physical conditions. Again, not self-created for the reasons I just explained for the use variance. And then last, the special exception, I believe we meet all the criteria. I'm not going to go into it. This is for the parking in the front yard setback. We have a number of spaces that are fronting on Merrick Road and on Westlake Court. Those are in the front yard setback. It's only those spaces, those new spaces. I believe that we meet all of the criteria. We're not going to prevent the orderly and reasonable use of adjacent properties. It doesn't impact the health, safety, and welfare, and it will be in harmony with the community. So that concludes my presentation. I'm sorry for the long-winded explanation, but that use variance one threw me for a little bit of a loop.
Long-winded and thorough.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
That's right.
Happy.
Stick with them.
No,
Don't let them retire.
We do have some people who are here, one of whom signed in opposition. Would anyone like to testify in opposition? We do have roughly 10 letters. I don't know if you've seen those, but I will give you the opportunity to review them. And if you'd like to respond, you're free to do so.
I would just like to point out on the record that I met with the 3 ladies before when you were talking, another presentation was going forward. I kind of explained to them, I think, and I don't want to speak for them, I think the issue was the way the notice was written about the 64 units, which is the total. They thought we were adding 64 units. So when I explained to them that it was just 12 units, I think,
A little confused.
and I don't want to speak for them, but I think they were satisfied.
Okay.
Okay, you want to come up? Yes.
Why don't you come up, ma'am?
Oh, wait.
Come up, speak into the microphone, please.
Hey there.
Hey there. Hey there. How you all?
My name is Susan Galati. I live on Soper Avenue, 2368 Soper Avenue. We are across the street. Better?
Better.
Across the street from the apartments, there are two other side streets, Soper Avenue and Westlake Avenue. I like the plans they've laid out. My issue has always been the parking. I was 3 years old when they built those apartments. We have not been able to park in front of our house for 63 years. I think I get they're going up from 1.3 something, 6.3 spaces to 1.9. That's still not 2 cars per apartment. They only have 1 car per apartment, and they all park in front of our homes. I think I'm probably not going to have a fit. I wish they would do a two-level parking garage instead to give some extra spaces to those people. I'm not going to object to where we are, but I wish the parking was a little bit of a better situation. Traffic is much better without 7-Eleven. Traffic has been horrendous. We had a light put in on Westlake a number of years ago because of accidents. But yeah, the parking is a little frustrating, but I do get their point. They are going up in parking, but most families have 2 cars. I've got 4 drivers in my household, and we can't park on the street. So that was my main concern. I wish they could eke a couple of more spaces out of it, but I'm not going to give them a hard time over it.
Okay.
Just so you guys are aware.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Gordino, this
Yes.
is a rendering, I guess, huh?
Yes, it is.
Shows the new building.
Yes.
First it said aerial view, I thought it was.
Yes.
No, it was built during the hearings.
Exactly.
That concludes your presentation, I would assume. Any other questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
Move that. I move, Mr. Chairman, that the hearing be closed, that the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Everyone who signed in on the case will receive a copy of the board's decision by mail once it's rendered.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thanks. Thank you. And it's good to see you.
Good day. Pardon?
Okay. Maybe less than a month. She had been pretty sick for a long time. Yeah, terrible, right? Yeah. Crazy stuff. What's that? I'll say nothing because you should say that. Yes. No, it's good. I think it's gonna be fine. I don't know how they're gonna do it, but I don't care. I don't care how they do it. But I'm right. But I am right. But I still don't.
Before we commence decisions, we're going to take a 10-minute break. We'll be back in 10 minutes. We've lost our audience completely, with the exception of the court reporter.
Yeah.
And Tara.
That's mine. Sorry, thank you.
You go inspect this place, like an Oceanside? Sure. Yeah, because I'd like to see it, because I know where it is. And it's a real good design. I just, I'm not,
Right.
Did he-
The one thing on that, one thing I need you to read on that.
All right, decisions. All right. Case 251 of 26, we're going to have Christina do a draft decision. All right, we don't have to vote on secret today, do we? Good, okay. Case 252 of 2026, Uniondale, 70 Charles Lindbergh Boulevard. Have any comments from the board? We need a secret, and then we need to make a motion.
I move
Anybody
that
want to make the
we
secret?
adopt a negative CEQA declaration as to the CEQA determination based on testimony given, exhibits in the file, and other materials we have received and analyzed. And that's on case number 252 of 26.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And then on the application itself.
On the application itself, 252-26 Uniondale, 70 Charles Lindbergh LLC, variance off-street parking, be granted as requested.
All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. We're going to hold 253 and 1180. All right, and 678 has been adjourned to August 19th at 2 p.m. And that concludes, well, the calendar. But go on, what do you have? Yeah, I'm done with the calendar. What do we have? I thought we did administrative this morning. I guess we didn't.
The appeal is determination. Because then they're immune. Why don't we just deny it? All right, it appears that is all the materials, so is there a motion to close the hearing?
I make a motion to close.
Second?
5 months. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.